The fluorescent lights above flickered softly, casting a sterile glow across the linoleum floor. The steady hum of the overhead fans mixed with the distant hiss of a cappuccino machine and the rhythmic beep of checkout scanners. It was just another Saturday shift at Brew Barn Cafe, and 17-year-old Maya Summers was halfway through her 8-hour slog. Her black apron clung to her like a second skin, damp from spilled steamed milk and the heat of the industrial espresso machine. Her sneakers, once white, now bore coffee-colored scuff marks and hints of dried caramel syrup. She moved with the efficiency of someone used to being underestimated. Each drink made with practiced precision. Each smile worn like armor. It was Maya's 3rd month on the job, and she'd grown to enjoy the small routines of it. The regulars who tipped with crumpled dollar bills, the warm smell of cinnamon and roasted beans, and the quiet moments in the back when she could breathe for just a minute. But that afternoon, as she cleared away a half-empty iced latte left on the counter, the door chimed, and something shifted. A chill swept through the space, not from the AC but from the presence that entered. Click, click, click. Heels echoed against the tile. A tall, stiff-shouldered woman strutted in, designer bag hanging from her elbow like a badge of honor. Sunglasses, still perched on her nose despite the indoor setting. Lips pursed like she'd just bitten into something sour. Her platinum blonde hair was teased into a cloud of high-maintenance volume, and she walked with the confidence of someone used to getting their way, especially when they shouldn't. Maya's heart sank. She knew the type. Entitled, demanding, impossible to please. The kind of customer who'd send back a muffin because the blueberries were too blue. The woman didn't approach the counter right away. She surveyed the space like a queen inspecting her kingdom, visibly displeased by the casual atmosphere and the indie music playing overhead. Her eyes landed on Maya. "You," she said, pointing one manicured finger as if she were summoning a butler. "I need someone competent. I don't have time for mistakes." Maya took a quiet breath, suppressing the instinct to roll her eyes. "Good afternoon. What can I get started for you today?" She asked with the same practiced calm she used on toddlers and barking dogs. "I want a venti almond milk half-calf macchiato, extra hot, with 3 pumps of sugar-free vanilla. But not too sweet. If it's too sweet, I send it back." Maya nodded. "Got it." As she turned to prepare the drink, she felt the woman's eyes boring into her back. "You're new here, aren't you?" The woman called out. "You're moving like someone who doesn't know what she's doing." Maya didn't answer. She tamped down the urge to respond. She'd been trained to de-escalate. No confrontation. Just deliver the coffee and smile. But the woman wasn't finished. "Kids these days," she muttered, loud enough for the few customers nearby to hear. No work ethic. No pride in anything. Just standing around, looking tired like they deserve a medal. A middle-aged man waiting for his Americano glanced toward the counter, his brow furrowed. Another teen, about Maya's age, raised an eyebrow and subtly pulled out their phone. Maya turned back with the drink in hand, offering it with a gentle, "Here you go. 1 almond milk macchiato, extra hot." The woman snatched it and took a long, deliberate sip. She froze, then spit it dramatically back into the cup. "This is disgusting," she barked. "Are you trying to poison me? Is this even almond milk?" Maya blinked, startled. "Yes, ma'am. I double-checked. Almond milk, sugar-free vanilla." "You messed it up," the woman shouted. "This is why I hate coming to places like this. The staff's incompetent. You probably don't even want to work. Probably think you're too good for this job." Maya's cheeks flushed. Her chest tightened. "I'm sorry, I can remake it." No, you're done. I want your manager, right now." Her voice rose above the background noise, cutting through the cafe like a blade. A few more phones came out. Customers shifted, uncomfortably. "I'm just trying to do my job," Maya said, her voice quieter now, straining not to crack. The woman leaned in, eyes sharp and cruel. "Then do it right, or get out of the way for someone who can." The cafe felt like it had paused. Even the music seemed to lower its volume. Maya stepped back, swallowing the lump in her throat. She turned toward the kitchen to get the manager. "Actually," said a voice from the side. I saw the whole thing. That drink was exactly what she asked for. It was the teen with the phone, still recording. Karen. That's what the internet would later call her, though Maya didn't. Know her name yet? Whirled around. Excuse me. The teen didn't flinch. You asked for almond milk. She gave you almond milk. You took a sip, then spat it out and tried to humiliate her. And now you're yelling at a teenager for making coffee? The older man near the register nodded. You've been loud since you walked in, ma'am. Karen's eyes darted between them, calculating. You're defending her, a barista? I'm defending decency, the man said simply. Karen's nostrils flared. Her sunglasses finally came off, revealing eyes as sharp as her tongue. I'm calling corporate, she snarled. And don't think I won't get you fired. Maya stood frozen, heart pounding. She was trained to stay calm, trained to smile, trained to endure. But her voice had been stolen, crushed under the weight of this woman's ego. She didn't notice the camera still rolling. She didn't know yet that TikTok was about to change everything. Karen stormed to the door, muttering threats, her drink untouched, still too hot to justify her outrage. And just as the bell chimed behind her, the teen with the phone turned to Maya and said, Don't worry, the internet loves justice. Maya didn't believe them yet, but something had cracked in the air. Something was coming. The next morning, Maya woke to the dull buzz of her phone vibrating nonstop on her nightstand. Her eyes, heavy with the weight of the previous day, cracked open to a barrage of notifications, messages, mentions, follows. Her fingers hovered hesitantly as she unlocked the screen. There it was, a video. Her video, or rather the one taken of her, plastered across her TikTok feed, reposted by an account she didn't recognize, already racking up thousands of likes and hundreds of comments. Caption read, Karen tries to bully teen worker, gets put in her place. Watch till the end. Maya watched wide-eyed. The video showed Karen's entrance, her sneering tone, the aggressive accusations, and the exact moment bystanders stepped in. The footage was crystal clear, complete with captions, a dramatic zoom-in on Karen's meltdown, and even a slow-motion replay of her saying, You're done. Maya's stomach twisted with anxiety, but then she started reading the comments. Someone give this girl a raise. Karen really tried it and failed spectacularly. The girl didn't even flinch, icon. Corporate needs to promote her, not fire her. She blinked at the screen, stunned. The internet for once was on her side, but even as hope flickered, a knot formed in her gut. Karen didn't strike her as the kind to let something go, not after a public embarrassment. Not after being exposed like that. She was right. By noon, Maya was back at the cafe, apron tied tight, eyes flicking, nervously to the door every time it opened. Her co-workers had seen the video too. Some offered quiet solidarity. Others gave her high fives and jokes, pretending like it was nothing, like the pressure of viral fame wouldn't start to suffocate her any second now. The front door jingled. Karen returned like a storm cloud rolling in from the edge of a too blue sky. Her sunglasses were gone, but her expression was even more severe, as if the exposure had stripped her of patience and she'd come for retribution. This time she didn't scan the cafe. She locked eyes with Maya immediately. You. Her voice was a sharpened icicle. You think this is funny? Maya froze. I should sue you for defamation, Karen said, loud enough for the entire cafe to hear. That video has ruined my reputation. I've received death threats. My email has been flooded. You have no idea what you've done. I didn't record it, Maya said softly. And I didn't post it either. You didn't stop it, Karen hissed, stepping closer. You could have told them to take it down. But no, you let them paint me as a villain. I have a family, a career. You've endangered both. Maya's hands trembled. You yelled at me in front of customers. You demanded I be fired, Karen scoffed. Oh, please, it's called accountability. You people are just too sensitive. The tension in the room thickened. Customers fell silent. One of Maya's co-workers began to walk around the counter slowly, cautiously. Karen wasn't done. You think TikTok makes you powerful? She sneered. You think strangers clapping for you means you've won? The internet forgets everything, but I won't. And I will be speaking to your corporate office. Ma'am, you need to leave, said Josh, the assistant manager, stepping between them. Karen turned on him like a snake. Don't you dare. Do you even know who I am? Do you know the damage she's caused? Josh stood firm. We saw the footage. You were abusive to a staff member. You've harassed her twice now. I need you to leave or I'll have to call security. Karen stared at him incredulous. You're siding with her? I'm siding with decency. A flicker of disbelief crossed Karen's face, then was quickly buried under indignation. I will make sure this store is shut down. You're all going to regret this. From the back of the room, someone called out, It's already online, lady. Too late. Laughter rippled through the cafe, soft but unmistakable. Karen's face darkened. I don't care what social media thinks, she snapped. You think your little online mob scares me? A man near the window, a regular Maya had served many times, leaned forward with a raised brow. If you weren't scared, you wouldn't be here yelling at a teenager about a latte. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came. Then came the unmistakable click of a phone camera shutter. Karen whirled around. Another teen was filming. Again. You're going viral again, he said with a grin. Round 2. Karen lunged forward, trying to snatch the phone, but he darted back. Josh stepped in quickly, signaling Maya to head to the back. She hesitated for a second, but the look in Josh's eyes was clear. Get out of the blast zone. In. The stockroom. Maya leaned against a crate of napkins, her pulse racing. Through the thin door, she could still hear the chaos outside. You're all gonna regret this. Karen's voice echoed one last time before the front door slammed. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was electric. Like the hush after lightning. Josh eventually came to find her. She's gone, he said. For now. Maya nodded, eyes still wide. She's unhinged, Josh added, rubbing the back of his neck. But it's you okay? I don't know, she admitted. It's like she wants to ruin me. Josh shook his head. She already ruined herself. You just stood there. I didn't want to be a hero. Well, internet says otherwise. He handed her a drink. Her favorite cold brew made just how she liked it. Outside the break room, she could hear quiet conversations, phones buzzing, laughter. The atmosphere had shifted again, but not back to normal. No, something had been set in motion, and Maya could feel it building. Karen thought she could control the story, but what she didn't realize was that the story had outgrown her. By Monday, Maya's world had fully shifted. She wasn't just a barista anymore. She was the barista. Her follower count had ballooned overnight. Influencers were stitching the video. News blogs were reaching out for interviews. A podcast had even mentioned her as the face of Gen Z workplace resilience. But behind the likes and retweets, a storm was still brewing. Karen had gone quiet. Too quiet. Maya sensed it like a tremor beneath her feet. A calm that felt more like coiled tension than peace. She couldn't explain it, but she knew the woman wasn't finished. Not after her image had been publicly dragged through the mud and trampled on by the internet's collective glee. She found out just how right she was on Wednesday morning. She arrived at Brew Barn to find Josh standing in the doorway, holding a stack of printed papers with a grim expression. Without a word, he handed her one. Her breath caught. It was a flyer, a fake, cheaply made flyer, printed in color and plastered with the Brew Barn logo, without permission. It read, "Think twice before supporting this location." Beneath it was a still shot of Karen's first encounter, carefully cropped to show Maya in mid-sentence and Karen looking exasperated, painted very intentionally to make it look like she was the victim. Employee harassment, viral humiliation, and a total lack of customer respect, it claimed. This teen barista violated the privacy and dignity of a longtime community member. Demand better. Boycott this store. The bottom listed a website. Justiceforkaren.org. Maya's hands trembled. She made a whole site, she whispered. Josh sighed. And she's been mailing these around. Corporate got one. We found copies taped to lampposts outside. How is this even legal? It probably isn't, but it's messy. That's what she wants, chaos, to make you look like the aggressor, to rewrite the story. And for a moment, Maya felt the old fear again, the creeping anxiety that maybe this woman could ruin her, not through direct attack, but through erosion, twisting perception, reshaping truth, making enough noise to drown out reality. But this time, she wasn't alone. A soft knock at the cafe window made her turn. The teen who'd filmed the original video, Jamie, stood outside, holding up his phone. He gave a thumbs up. Maya went outside. "She's trying to flip it," she said to him quietly. Jamie nodded. "We figured she might, so we're flipping it right back." He handed her his phone. A new video had just gone live. It wasn't just a repost of the original. This one had editing, commentary, receipts. Jamie had done his homework. Clips of Karen yelling at other workers from months past. Yelp reviews complaining about a rude woman in designer heels who regularly berated staff across town. Even a local school board meeting clip where she'd lashed out at a student speaker. "Where did you find this?" Maya asked, amazed. "The internet never forgets," Jamie grinned. "And I may or may not run a drama recap account. We're very thorough." The video was already spreading. People were connecting dots. This wasn't an isolated incident. Karen had a pattern. Maya's mind started turning. Fast. "What if we didn't just expose her?" she said slowly. "What if we flip the entire narrative, make it about standing up for workers, for anyone who's ever been yelled at for doing their job?" Jamie tilted his head. "You want to go full counterattack?" HOA nodded. "Not just for me, for everyone she steamrolled. She wants to be a martyr? Fine, let's show the truth." That night, Maya sat at her desk, her room dark except for the blue light of her screen. She recorded her first video directly addressing the situation. She didn't cry. She didn't plead. She didn't name-call. She told the story. She explained what happened from her side, calmly and clearly. She played audio from the cafe's security mic, the one that captured the exact moment Karen berated her. She showed clips of Karen's behavior from the now circulating compilation. And then she looked directly into the camera and said, "I've worked hard for everything I have. I never wanted to go viral, but I also won't be shamed for standing still while someone tried to tear me down." She ended it with a line that Jamie suggested, "Bullies hate mirrors. So let's hold one up." By morning, the video had over 3 million views. Celebrities were commenting. News outlets were reaching out. Justice for Maya was trending. And then came the final blow. A former Brew Barn employee messaged Maya anonymously. Attached was a photo. Karen at another cafe, mid-tantrum, waving a receipt in one hand. Mouth open in a scream. Date stamped, time stamped, witnesses listed. Maya forwarded it to Jamie. Within hours, the story had become too big to ignore. The flyer campaign backfired spectacularly. People posted photos of themselves holding coffee cups from Maya's cafe, calling it their safe space. Local businesses offered her free meals. An employment attorney offered pro bono protection. Even Brew Barn's corporate account posted, "We stand behind our staff. Bullying has no place here, period." Karen's site was quickly flagged for misinformation and removed. And that afternoon, as Maya stepped outside on her break, she spotted Karen's flyer still fluttering on a nearby pole. She walked up to it, stared at the warped, dishonest image, and slowly peeled it down. She smiled, just a little, and crumpled it in her hand. Justice wasn't always loud, but it was thorough. And it had momentum now. And Karen? Karen had just learned what happens when the world sees who you really are. The next time Karen appeared, it wasn't in person. It was on screen. A local news station aired a short segment that evening. Community reacts to viral cafe incident. What's next for the woman at the center of it all? Maya watched it. From her couch, her legs tucked under her, a half-eaten bag of popcorn on her lap. Her parents were watching too, barely blinking, both tense and quiet. Karen sat in a stiff-backed chair, dressed in a navy blazer, hair tightly pulled back. Her tone was clipped, rehearsed. She looked smaller somehow, not physically, but in presence. as though the energy she once wielded like a weapon had deflated under the weight of public scrutiny. "I was unfairly portrayed," she said, blinking too often. The video only showed part of the interaction. "I felt attacked." "Set up." The anchor raised a brow. "You've been recorded before, multiple times, and some of those videos were taken years apart. Are you saying none of them are accurate?" Karen hesitated, just for a second, but the pause said more than her words could. "I may have been unkind," she said carefully, "but that doesn't justify the internet turning me into a meme. It's harassment." Maya leaned forward, watching. The interview continued, but it became clear. This was not an apology. It was a soft attempt at damage control, to reset the narrative one last time. But it was too late. Later that night, Maya got a notification. Again, Karen was trending, but this time not because of Maya or any video, because Karen's employer had released a statement. They were terminating her contract. The post was short and surgical. "We do not condone behavior that promotes hostility or intimidation, either in the workplace or community. Effective immediately, we have severed professional ties with Ms. Karen Delaney." The comments were relentless. "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Did she just get fired on a Friday night news cycle? Ouch. That barista deserves a medal, or a Netflix deal." Maya didn't cheer. Not outwardly. She didn't dance or laugh or gloat, but deep down something shifted. Not satisfaction exactly, just closure. She went to work the next morning and found a line out the door. People smiled at her. Some even asked for selfies. It was surreal. But what surprised her more than anything was the envelope waiting for her at the register. Inside was a handwritten note. "Maya, thank you for holding your ground when I couldn't. I used to work here too. I quit after one of her episodes. You did what so many of us wish we could have. You made it stop. You made her stop. With respect, Claire." It wasn't signed with a last name. But that didn't matter. That note said everything. By midweek, Maya was invited to speak at a local high school for a panel on workplace respect. She accepted, nervous but proud. She wore the same apron she'd had on in the video, a quiet reminder that she hadn't changed, only grown. During the Q&A, a student asked, "Did you ever want to retaliate? Like really go off?" Maya smiled. "Of course I did. But then, she would have won. All she wanted was a scene, a reason to prove I was the problem, but silence, stillness, that rattled her more than shouting ever could." The auditorium applauded. The next day, someone made a meme, a stylized image of Maya standing behind the register with the words, "Barista, not a doormat." It went viral. Again. But this time, it wasn't about a feud. It was about dignity. Karen, now jobless and silent online, had vanished from public view. Rumors swirled. Some claimed she was trying to rebrand, others that she'd moved states. But none of it mattered anymore. Her grip on the story had been broken beyond repair. Her face, once framed in entitlement, had become a cautionary tale. One that people remembered. And Maya, she kept working because she liked her job. Because not everything needed to change just because the world noticed her for a moment. But when people walked in now, they didn't just see a teen behind a register. They saw someone who stood up by standing still. Someone who took on a storm and didn't flinch. One evening, as the cafe lights dimmed and the final rush trickled out, Josh tossed her a grin and said, "You know, corporate asked if you'd be interested in helping with training videos." She blinked. "Seriously? They want to call it de-escalation with Maya. I said you'd only do it if they gave you free coffee for life." She laughed, actually laughed, the sound loud and honest. "Make it a 10-year gift card and we'll talk." Josh raised his cup in a mock toast. To the quietest takedown in viral history. Maya clinked hers against his. And as she looked out the window, watching another sunset spill across the town she'd never thought would remember her, she realized something important. She hadn't gone looking for a fight. She'd just refused to be stepped on. And sometimes that's all it takes to bring a bully crashing down. Not rage, not revenge, just truth. Spoken calmly, held steady, and witnessed by millions.